Hello, everyone. Welcome to Will ND for another Young Gun show. I'm here with Jeffrey from Only Talk Sports. Really excited for this week of football, aren't you, Jeffrey? We've got some big games going.
I'm looking forward to it. There's obviously you got the big games like Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, LSU, even Clemson, Notre Dame. But there's a lot of games that are sneaky too, and we're going to be going over as many games as we possibly can go over. And I'm looking forward to it.
Now, the first game we're going to start off with is an armed forces game. Obviously, we have a lot of respect for our military and a lot of respect for these teams. And we got Air Force taking on Army in Choctaw Stadium, back where the Rangers used to play before their new stadium. And Air Force is a 7-point favorite, and the over-under is at 40.5. What do you think of this one, Jeffrey?
Yeah, it's a very interesting game because again, with the armed forces teams, you have a lot of running. There's not a lot of passing. So I mean, Air Force they have a better record than Army, but it's at Army, and it could be one of those things where one fumble makes a difference. It's going to be very tough to make a prediction on it, but I'll probably have to go with the spread and say, or at least the favorite team, and say Air Force is going to pull away with maybe one score at the end, but it could go either way.
Yeah, if you want to see two teams that are great in the trenches, just look at the armed forces. These guys are have some big guys on the offensive and defensive lines, and there'll be a lot of good rushing going on. So definitely excited for this one and gonna check it out. And then we got the noon game on ABC. This one just looks like a mismatch, but it's between one, but it's still big for Ohio State to keep it rolling as they're going to be heading to Evanston and taking on Northwestern. This one looks like a blowout.
Yeah, I mean, this is one that's like ABC, man. I kind of feel bad they got this game, but obviously it's probably going to get a lot of views for Ohio State fans, but on the game side, I think Ohio State's favored by like 38. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not a spreads guy, but I could easily see Ohio State winning by at least 50. Northwestern's defense is literally just almost air. You don't want to say that they're not trying, but they cannot stop anybody. Their offense, ever since the Nebraska game, is just completely tanked. So yeah, it could get very ugly, and Ohio State could easily win by 40, 50 points for sure.
hmm Yeah, the over under is 55 and a half, and I think that might just mean Ohio State has to score 56 for it to hit. So I think the under there might be a good play, but yeah, definitely should be an easy win for the Buckeyes, and they'll probably have more of their fans there too. Now, the big noon kickoff involves one of the fun undefeated teams. It's TCU heading to number Texas Tech heading to number 7 TCU with TCU at 8-point favorite and the over under at 69. Two dynamic offenses taking off in this one.
I think this game is very interesting for one because like the fact that most of the time the Big Ten's been on Fox lately, so it's kind of interesting to have a Big 12 game on here on Fox again at noon. But TCU is a good team and they're undefeated for a reason. They've been really good this season, but obviously they did struggle against West Virginia last week, but it was on the road. This game is at home, and Texas Tech's been kind of up and down. Like Texas Tech blew out West Virginia, but then they got blown out by Baylor, so they've been kind of all over the place. If the Texas Tech that showed up against West Virginia, if they play like that, then they could hang around with TCU and maybe pull off an upset, even though it's at TCU. But I'm going to have to go with TCU to win this game, stay undefeated.
Yeah, I would have considered Texas Tech, but that performance against Baylor just didn't give me much hope for them to be able to pull off this upset, especially on the road in Fort
Mm.
Worth. So I'm definitely going with the Frogs in this one and to cover the spread as well. So we have a game that looks like it would be fun at the beginning of the season, but one of the team just hasn't done its part, and it's UNC heading to UVA with the spread at 7 and the over under at 60. I definitely feel like UNC might just come into Charlottesville and just roll. But what do you think, Jeffrey?
This is interesting because like North Carolina, I have like shaky faith with them because like I like to pick North Carolina easily to win, and then they do sometimes struggle in games like this and games that you would think they would win. But North Carolina is a good team this year. I feel that Drake May at quarterback, they're too good, and Virginia's really struggling on offense. So I have to agree with you. If this was the North Carolina team from last year, I would maybe pick Virginia to pull an upset, but I'm going to go with North Carolina. Their offense is too good, and I don't think Virginia's going to be able to stop it.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if Virginia can score much against
Mhm.
North Carolina because Virginia's the offense just looks so bad this year, but North Carolina's defense is also so bad. So it'll be interesting to see if Tony Elliott can finally get his offense rolling in this one.
And it's really interesting the fact that Virginia's offense was so good last year, and then you get Tony Elliott, and it's still blowing me away. They got all the same players, but their offense is not the same. It's crazy.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely looking Tony Elliott definitely not looking like the best hire in Charlottesville. I know it's only year one, but like that offense was so good and now they're so bad. Like what's going on at UVA? It's so crazy. Now this next one is a group of five matchup, but it's Tulane heading to Tulsa, and it'll be interesting to see if the Green Wave can keep it going and head to a New Year's Six bowl.
Yeah, I think that Tulane is probably the I wouldn't like coming to the season. You would say that they were nowhere near like the best American Conference team. It was Cincinnati, and it's like now that Cincinnati they lost to UCF, they're out of the top 25, and UCF's kind of hanging around. Tulane does have a great chance, like you said, to make the top group of five like in the bowl game for like the New Year's Day and all that. Tulsa, they're not a great team. They've been kind of decent at times this season, but I'm gonna go with Tulane. They're playing really good football, and they've beaten like some of the best teams in the American Conference so far. I think they're gonna continue to win this weekend against Tulsa for sure. Even though it's at Tulsa, Tulsa doesn't really have a great home crowd either, so I think that's not
Yeah.
gonna really bother Tulane.
Yeah, I'm definitely rolling wave on this one. Tulsa just haven't looked great. Now we got one team that's coming off a huge win, and then we have another one that's just been sputtering a bit. And it's Kentucky heading into Missouri. Definitely an interesting lower end SEC matchup.
I like these SEC games that are like lower too because a lot of people like always look at the big rank matchups,
Mhm.
kind of like Arkansas Auburn. I thought that was an interesting one a couple weeks ago or whatever, or last week, whenever it was. But Kentucky, Missouri. I mean, Missouri. They're a very interesting team because like Missouri at times this season has looked like a very great team. Like they're hanging with the best of the SEC, but they just find ways to lose a lot of the time. And they did win recently, so I mean, obviously, I think that they are very capable of winning this game. But Kentucky's still a really good team. I mean, Will Levis, he's back and all that. So I think for Kentucky, this is a game that you would say on paper Kentucky's going to win, but I would not be surprised that Missouri wins because they're a lot better than people think because of that, just because their record's not great and they've lost all the games, but they've been really competitive. So I can see them winning, but still, I mean, I can't really make a pick here. I'm like 50-50. It's like I want to go Kentucky, but it's like Missouri can win. So it's interesting.
Yeah, it's a pick 'em on the betting line, so you're pretty much in line with the betters in this one. I feel like Missouri just plays so much better at home.
Hmm.
But Kentucky has a great offense, so I'm leaning Kentucky, but I don't know.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's tough. But Will Levis has to have a better game than he has in the past. He just has to get back to that great form. Now the next game is between two very disappointing teams. We have Florida heading into College Station to take on the Aggies, with Texas A&M the 3-point favorite and the over/under at 55. Which of these struggling teams do you think can pull off the win?
The thing that's so frustrating with this game is because like again, if you come into the season, this would easily be a Texas A&M win. Like there's no doubt about it. And Florida, Billy Napier's first season, I know a lot of Florida fans are frustrated that they're not like better already, especially when they beat Utah. It was a lot of people thought Florida was, they were like really good, and then they've kind of struggled since then. They're 4-4. But Texas A&M's got better talent than Florida. I mean, the recruiting classes that Jimbo Fisher's put together. I mean, they have way better players than Florida. But Texas A&M has been probably the most disappointing team in the country this season by far with what they were supposed to do. They were ranked like seventh in coming into the season. It's at Texas A&M, the home field. I mean, it should be a Texas A&M win, but they're losing every game. It's like they're like Nebraska from last year. They're finding ways to lose by like one score. So it's like I don't know. I mean, Texas A&M should win this game, but I would not be completely surprised if they blow it and let Florida win. But they should win.
You know what? I'm picking Florida. I have no faith in Texas A&M at all. Like, their offense is just so bad, and Florida has I think Anthony Richardson will score, like, a couple touchdowns, and they'll win 14-3. That's what I think.
It's still funny though with Anthony Richardson. Like at the beginning of the season, he had that performance against Utah, and it was like, oh, he's a top 15 draft pick. Like that's disappeared. He's played just all over the place since then. Like he has a play where he looks like he is a top 15 draft pick, and then the next play looks like, why is he the starting quarterback for Florida? So he's been very inconsistent as well. I know A&M's offense is bad, but Florida's offense hasn't been that great either. I am with you. I feel like Florida. You want to pick Florida because of A&M's incompetency, but A&M on paper should win this game. But again, paper doesn't win games, and they're just having an awful season. So I don't know. It's kind of almost like the Kentucky Missouri. It can go either way. It's funny. Those two are great sneaky games.
Yeah, the next one we got is another it's just a classic Big Ten West slobber knocker between two teams that just aren't that good.
Mm-hmm.
We got, Minnesota heading into Big Red Country and taking on Nebraska.
This game's interesting too because it's like I think your upset pick of the week last week, Nebraska over Illinois, is like. I mean, I was kind of like I was feeling your energy there. I was like Nebraska, but I was like, yeah, they're kind of like Texas A&M. Obviously, they're way worse talent level wise. They're not at that level, but it's like Nebraska's they find ways to lose and they're still doing it. They're obviously maybe a little bit better this year. I mean, they got the Trey Palmer, Casey Thompson connection, but Minnesota beat Rutgers 31-0 last week. They might be like starting to like regroup a little bit. They had a rough stretch. Tanner Morgan's back, and you got Mo Ibrahim. I mean, this is going to come down to whether Nebraska, like if they play like they did against Purdue on offense, I think they can beat Minnesota. But if they play like they did last week against Illinois on offense, they're not beating Minnesota because if it's a slugfest game, Minnesota's going to find a way to win because Nebraska chokes close games. They choke low-scoring games. If Nebraska's offense can get clicking, then I think they're going to win. But I'm going to go with Minnesota because Nebraska's just too inconsistent.
Yeah, I'm definitely going for Minnesota here. Definitely disappointed in Tanner Morgan. I thought he was turning a corner at one point this year against Michigan State, but it turns out Michigan State was just bad, and Tanner Morgan still isn't that good. So, yeah, but I'm still going with the Gophers. I think Mo Ibrahim will just run for probably around at least 200 yards and win this game. And there's something I have to confess. I am a Texas A&M yell leader. You found me out, Tony. I'm just doing this to try to help up my guys out. So yeah, I'm a Texas A&M yell. That's why my voice is a little scratchy. I've yelled a lot. Now we have another one that always seems to go one team's way. We got Iowa and Purdue. And I feel like this is just a Purdue win written right all over it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this game is interesting because of the fact you got like Iowa's the defense, Purdue it's the offense, but I don't know. Like Iowa's defense, it is really good, but it's almost like since Iowa's season's kind of like tanked, they're not like as
Yeah.
tenacious as they've been. They're kind of slipping a hair, and it's not their fault. It's because they just stink, and their offense is doing nothing to help them out. I think Purdue's going to win. It's at home too, and Purdue's a team that they're kind of like North Carolina. The fact that I don't trust them. Whenever I feel like Purdue's going to easily win, and they kind of choke. But I am going to pick Purdue over Iowa. Iowa's just they're not getting it done. So I'm going to go Purdue.
Yeah, so Florida is definitely my upset of the week, and Purdue's definitely my lock, at least of the noon games. I might have some more, but yeah. So next one, we got a little fun matchup between two teams that are like usually have opposite records. We have Maryland at 6-2, heading to Wisconsin that's 4-4. Usually Maryland's the 4-4 team, and Wisconsin's a 6-2. So, but it's in Camp Randall, so who knows what's going to happen in this one? With Wisconsin as a 5-point favorite and the over under at 49.
Yeah, this is a game like you look at the new window. There's like a lot of games. It's crazy. I mean, in that new window, how many good games that there are. A lot of sneaky games, but it's like this game. I mean, according to a report a few hours ago, Talia Tagovailoa is supposed to be back from injury. So if he's able to play, I mean, against Wisconsin, I'm picking Maryland easily. But if he's like not like healthy and he's struggling, or the backup Billy Edwards is playing for Maryland, I could see Wisconsin. I could see Wisconsin winning. But if Talia Tagovailoa is healthy and he's playing well, then Wisconsin's not winning because their offense is barely better than Iowa's. It's not good at all.
Mhm.
And I mean, Wisconsin should be better. Like they should be better than their record. This is another one of those things where it's like obviously again not the talent of Texas A&M, but they should be better than 4-4, but they're not. Maryland's 6-2 for a reason. Talia Tagovailoa's got there. If he is healthy, they're gonna win.
As Tony says, jump up, and the Wisconsin fans are gonna have to sit down because they're gonna lose this. So this is a really interesting game. Like this game could go either way. It's at 3:30, and it's Baylor and Oklahoma, with Oklahoma as a 3.5 point favorite and a 61.5 over under. Oklahoma has been playing better, but Baylor did look really good against Texas Tech. And it's in Norman, so I have no idea what to expect out of this game.
Yeah, this is interesting too because like you're talking about Oklahoma, they've been a lot worse than normal, but they have been getting it back together.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan Gabriel's back healthy, and he's playing really well right now. I think that Oklahoma's offense, is still great. Their defense obviously is awful, and Baylor's been kind of interesting because like Baylor, they come into the season, they were supposed to be like really good. Obviously, like maybe not going to be able to repeat last season's performance, but a lot of people thought that they could still maybe win the Big 12. They have not played at that level, but they have had games like last week against Texas Tech where they were good. They were a lot better than what they've shown this season. So they are capable of winning this game, but I'm probably going to go with Oklahoma because Oklahoma has been playing better lately. It's at home. And I think that they're going to win in a shootout. It's going to be a high-scoring game, and I'm going to go with Oklahoma.
Yeah, I'm definitely not putting money on this one, but I'm definitely going to be picking Oklahoma to win just because I trust them more. So the next one we got is another game like the Ohio State Northwestern game. It's just a complete mismatch. We got Oregon traveling to Boulder to take on the Buffaloes.
Yeah, and again, it's on
31.5 point
ESPN.
spread. And a 63 over under.
It's on ESPN. I mean, it's like I feel bad for Colorado, just like Northwestern. I mean, I don't know if this game's gonna be as ugly as Ohio State Northwestern. It might not be as bad, but Oregon's still gonna win by a lot. I mean, Colorado, their defense is not good at all, and their offense. I mean, they've had moments, but like when their offense has been okay, it's because they're playing teams that are bad at defense. So Oregon is good on both sides of the ball. They're going to handle Colorado by a lot. Probably not as much as Ohio State Northwestern, but it's going to be by a pretty healthy margin, at least 25 probably.
Mm-hmm. So the next one we got is your boys, the Hoosiers are going to be hosting the Nittany Lions of Penn State. Possible upset here. Like, I don't know. Like, Penn State hasn't really impressed me at all this year. If Connor Bazelak can have a good game, you never know, man. You never know.
Yeah, this game is I've heard like some people say that the weather could be bad in the Indiana game. So I mean that's gonna hurt Indiana because of obviously they're not able to run the ball and their passing attack is basically like they had a game against Idaho early in the season when it was raining and they're in the first half and they could not throw the ball, but when it cleared, then they were in the second half they were able to throw the ball and win. So if the weather's poor, I think that probably takes Indiana's chances out of it. But if it's not bad, then I think Indiana has a chance. Penn State they're a good team, and I think that Penn State they're better than they've been recently with James Franklin. They're a better team this year, obviously, because their run game is competent with Nick Singleton. But I think that it's going to come down to whether Indiana can protect Bazelak, and if they they keep them upright and they're able to throw the ball and the weather's not bad, I think they have a chance. And this is basically their last chance for bowl eligibility. If they lose this game, it's over because you're going to have 6 losses. You're going to lose to Ohio State. More of them, basically, it's a given. So you're going to be out of bowl eligibility. This is their last chance. I think Indiana's going to play Spirit and they're going to really try, but I'm probably going to go with Penn State to win in a close one.
Now, Tom Allen might be he might be pivoting to Jack Tuttle. Do you think that changes things at all?
My thing is about like with Jack Tuttle's, he's not really a runner either. He can move more than Connor Bazelak, but he's not really a runner either. To me, it would be almost better if they went with Dexter Williams, third string, because he's a dual threat. I don't know what they're gonna do because I've heard some mumblings about is Connor Bazelak gonna be the starter. But I mean, to me, going with Jack Tuttle is not going to really change things. It's going to be about the same. So they need to go with either a mobile quarterback or just keep Connor Bazelak.
We got Jackson here. Happy that you joined us, Jackson. So we got another Big Ten game going on. We got Michigan State. Who knows what they're going to be like after that whole scuffle with Michigan? Heading to Champaign and take on Illinois. So what do you guys think of this one?
I'll go first, I guess. I'm going to say that Illinois is playing really good football. They're playing very spirited football. Like, they want to win. I mean, Michigan State's having a rough season, and it's at Illinois. So I'm going to go with Illinois to beat Michigan State by probably, I'll say by at least 10. Michigan State's really struggling, so I'm going to go with Illinois.
Jackson, do you think the Spartans have a chance? Jackson? Okay, we'll let his connection there get a little better there. And the next one is we got Oklahoma State heading to Lawrence and take on Kansas. Now, for Kansas, just make bowl eligibility. I know you haven't been playing as well lately, but just get bowl eligible, please. Like, I really want you to at least get bowl eligibility.
Yeah, I agree with you. I want Kansas to make a bowl
What's
game.
up?
Just make
What's up,
it.
Jackson?
Hey, Jackson. But I want, like, Kansas to just make a bowl. I want them to get there. Oklahoma State, it's interesting because you could have, like, 2 results. They could either, like, come back spirited and play like they have been at the beginning of the season, or they could let the Kansas State performance trail into this game and they can play bad again. I think it's all going to come down to the way Oklahoma State plays. If they play like they did last week, Kansas is going to win. But if they play like they have earlier in the season, then I think that they'll beat Kansas. But I'm probably going to go with Kansas just because I don't know what to expect with Oklahoma State, and I want Kansas to make a bowl. But it could go either way. It's another 50-50 game.
Jackson, are you with us? Do you want to talk about this game? Okay, we're going to move on. No, we have one. This is a good one because I'm interested in this one just because it'll be interesting to see how Syracuse bounced back with 2 disappointing losses in a row to Clemson and my Irish. And they're heading to Pitt to take on the Panthers. And Pitt hasn't had the season that they wanted. And they really want to get the ball rolling here and try to make a charge at the Coastal because who knows what's going on with the ACC Coastal this year. So what do you think of this one?
You want to go first, Jackson? Oh, he's gone.
He's gone. Okay. Sorry.
Well, with Syracuse Pitt, I'll just say that, like, Syracuse, you said, they've lost 2 in a row. They're still ranked. They're still, to people's eye, they're like the better team. Because obviously, when you have a number, it looks better. But again, I've been very, like, straightforward with Syracuse, and I've gotten a lot of people that have been, like, disliking my comments about Syracuse. But, like, they're a good team, but they're just not up in the upper tier. They're a good team, but I mean, I would not be surprised. Pitt's really struggling, but I would not be surprised if Pitt won because Syracuse, to me, is just not at that level. I know the Clemson game fooled a lot of people because they almost won. Clemson played really bad in that game. And Clemson was, they had to put Kate Klubnik in just to win the game. I mean, again, I think Syracuse is a good team. And I think they can win this game for sure, but I don't know.
Jackson, what do you think about Syracuse? Oh, sorry. I was trying to cut you off, Jeffrey.
Oh, you're good. I just don't trust Syracuse, so I probably have to go with Pitt. It's tough.
Yeah. I don't know. These 2 games are just toss-ups to me, Oklahoma State, Kansas, and Syracuse, Pitt.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to put money on it, I would say that Spencer Sanders has a bounce back and that he plays with a purpose and that Oklahoma State wins.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what to think about this Syracuse Pitt game. It's a rivalry game, which makes it fun. So I'm just not really sure. But if I had to put money on it, I would say Syracuse, just because they gotta play with some heart.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a fun group of five game going on here at the American. We got UCF heading to Memphis.
Oh,
UCF,
UCF
of
won't
course,
be Group
coming
of
off that
Five for
emotional.
long.
eh, We got UCF coming off an emotional win against Cincy, heading to Memphis. Can they keep it going, or will they have a letdown?
I picked, UCF in a close game, and I feel like I'm holding with that pick. Memphis has played like three tough games in a row that they almost won. I just feel like Memphis is just gonna find a way to like lose another close game. UCF has been up and down this season. When they've looked really good, they've looked fantastic. When they've kind of struggled, they've looked kind of poor. But I'm gonna go with UCF in a close one over Memphis.
Ooh, little trap game before they
Yeah.
go to Tulane.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Central Florida 28-24 against Memphis.
I went
Mhm.
31-28 UCF, so I mean it's about the same. It's close.
Mhm.
Oh, I hope you guys didn't go too past the Tennessee Georgia prediction.
No, we're saving that one.
Oh, there we go. Because I got a little late because I was eating some dinner. So
No worries, bro. We're happy you're here.
I'm happy to be here, Will. I hear you're
Mhm.
going to the Notre Dame Clemson game tomorrow.
Yeah, man, I'm going to be there.
How's it feel?
It feels good to be back in South Bend, but there are a lot of Clemson fans here, which kind of worries me. I hope they don't completely take over the stadium if things go south.
Hey, well, I will let you know. I was dead wrong about Notre Dame against Syracuse. And honestly, I'm glad I was.
Yeah. So we got a Pac-12 matchup. This is a fun one. We got Washington State heading to Stanford. Now I kind of jumped on the Washington State train after they beat Wisconsin,
Mm-hmm.
but they're 1-4 in the Pac-12 now, so that hasn't really worked well. But Stanford, they played well against us, and they did get another Pac-12 win. Well, their first one against Arizona State, but they did lose at UCLA. But UCLA is a good team, so Stanford playing better. Washington State trying to get it together. This should be a good one.
Hmm.
Yeah, I feel like this game is like one of those ones was like the Pac-12 is two struggling football teams. I mean, it could go either way. It's at Stanford. I don't know how much that matters. I mean, Stanford's got, an average home field, but it's not that good. So, I mean, Stanford to me plays spoiler in bigger games. Since this is not like a big game, I'm probably going to lean Washington State, but I don't trust either team at all.
Yeah, Washington State did give Utah a run, so I do trust them a bit more to be more consistent. What about you, Jackson? Who
I
you
got
got?
Stanford winning 24-21.
All right, awesome. And we got Joey's game here. Watching football this year is like using vinegar as eye drops.
Yeah, did you guys see that ending to TCU last week? Like that was a
Ridiculous.
fireable moment for Neil Brown.
Yeah, ridiculous for Big Criddle near
I
Brown.
mean, you blew it.
Yeah,
You
he
had
blew
it
it,
all
man.
and you blew it.
Mm-hmm.
We got Iowa State as a 7-point favorite here in Ames.
Mm-hmm.
Both of these teams got to win to make a bowl, I think. I don't think they can go run the table. So who do you think is going to keep their bowl hopes alive here in Ames?
Iowa State
Yeah,
35-31.
that sounds like a good score to me.
This game's really interesting because it's like West Virginia again. They've looked competent at times, but again, Neil Brown. It's kind of like Scott Frost. It's like you're finding ways to lose. You're not getting it done. Iowa State, they were really good a couple of years ago, but they've really fallen off. with Matt Campbell at coach. I mean, they're not terrible. I mean, both these teams are not terrible. It's like they're not
No.
like the ACC teams at the bottom, and everybody's like, well, they're 3-5, but they're good teams. They're just not good enough to win. But I'm gonna go with like Jackson. I'm gonna go with Iowa State because at home in West Virginia is just ugh. I'm gonna go with Iowa State barely.
Yeah, I think we're all on the Iowa State boat here. Now we have a fun little non-conference matchup here. We got Liberty, they're red hot. They're 7-1, going to Arkansas as the Razorbacks are trying to keep it going after that big win in the barn in Auburn.
That's going to be an Arkansas 35-24 victory.
Mm-hmm.
This is a game where it's like Arkansas. If it was like 2 weeks ago, I would be like very sketchy to pick them, but they're looking better again. The Auburn, when I know Auburn's not good, and obviously Brian Harsin got fired for it, but Arkansas, I'm gonna go with Arkansas as well. Liberty's really good, but they're still just an independent team, and I don't mean that in a bad way because Notre Dame is an independent. They're really good, but Liberty's not Notre Dame. They're a good team, but I'm going to go with Arkansas. It's at home. It's the SEC. I'm going to pick them over Liberty by probably about 7.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I'm with you guys in that one.
Oh, that little 8-year contract extension that Hugh Freeze got last week. Ooh. You think Auburn's going to pony up the dough?
Yeah, Auburn and West Virginia, man. They could. What do you think the chances of that happening are, Jeffrey? Of them getting Hugh Freeze? Really sketchy guy is the problem.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the thing is like Brian Harsin to me. I've said this in my video on him getting fired. I just feel that Auburn needs to like help out more with like getting players. I need to like get players. They're not getting players, and whoever's gonna be the coach is gonna need help. I mean, Lane Kiffin's not going to Auburn. Like that's just not happening. I don't care. Like he's just not. Like everybody's saying, all these articles not happening. So if Hugh Freeze is the only one that will accept the job and they'll offer it to him, I mean, I could definitely see it because I mean, like who else wants to be there? I mean, it's just not a pretty scene in Auburn right now. So I would not be shocked at all if he got the job. But
either Coach Hugh Freeze or Coach Deion Primetime Sanders.
That is possible.
Everyone watch that 60 Minutes interview of Deion Sanders because the guy asked him, what would it take for you to leave a Power 5 school? And he says, I'd have to listen, wouldn't I? I'll listen. So he's more honest than all the other ones. Because, I mean, like, look at the Lincoln Riley one last year, right? Somebody asked him, are you going to leave Oklahoma for LSU? No, I'm not leaving for the SEC. But he didn't tell anybody who's going to skip town to LA. So he didn't say yes to leaving Oklahoma, but he didn't say no.
Mm-hmm. Joey's, of course, very upset that we're doubting his Mountaineers. That's fine. No, my boys, you'll see. They're winning 104-2. They'll get 2 points because JT feels sorry for them and slips in the end zone. So Joey feeling confident. Good for Joey.
I don't think I've ever seen a team score 104.
Mm-hmm. So we got another one of the Big 12 coming up here. We have Texas heading to Kansas State. Texas in need of a win after another loss. They do not want to go 8-4 or worse. And Kansas State, man, they look hot. I can't pick against Kansas State in this one.
Well, they start Adrian Martinez, then it looks good for Texas. But if they don't start Adrian Martinez, Texas is in trouble in Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm surprised Texas is a 2.5-point favorite. Are you, Jeffrey?
Well, I would be, but it's Texas. Like it's the brand, you know. I mean, that's the only reason. But I mean,
yeah,
Kansas State. It's very interesting because I mean, like Jackson says, a great point about Adrian Martinez. I mean, that Will Howard guy, man, he came in there and just bludgeoned Oklahoma State. So I mean, Yeah. I mean, if he's playing, I mean, I guess I have to go with Kansas State, but it is possible, like you said, if Adrian Martinez is the starter, Texas can win. Quinn Ewers has not looked the same since he was at the beginning of the season. I don't know if he's still like hurt or if he's just struggling. I have no idea. But Texas, I mean, they got better players than Kansas State. They do, obviously, but they just haven't looked very consistent. Especially, like I said, Quinn Ewers been all over the place. So I'm probably gonna go Kansas State.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to be a K-State 28-24 victory.
Mm-hmm.
Only reason why it's so close, well, Bijan Robinson of
Yeah.
Texas.
Two great running backs with Deuce Vaughn and Bijan Robinson. I think that Deuce will do just a bit more because I feel like he's been doing more all season for Kansas State than Bijan has for Texas.
Oh, yeah.
Now we got another one that looks like a bit of a mismatch. We have Michigan riding high off that Michigan State win, heading to Piscataway to take on the Rutgers Scarlet Knights.
They can be a bit of a trap.
Yeah. I mean,
But it's going to
Rutgers.
be a Michigan 38-21 victory.
Yeah.
I don't think this game's gonna be close. I mean, Rutgers. I mean, I thought Rutgers was a little bit better when they beat Indiana, but then they lose to Minnesota 31-0. So it's at Rutgers, but Rutgers' home field's not that great either. I think Michigan's not losing this game. I'd be completely shocked if they lost. It'd be a huge upset. I don't see it. I think Michigan's gonna easily win.
Yeah. Rutgers has been playing well at home,
Yeah.
but
The
I don't think
old
it'll be.
birthplace of college football, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm. New Jersey.
Jersey.
They don't even like football that much.
Well, they like pro football. But,
Yeah.
Well, they do like the Jets and the Giants so far. So
mm-hmm. So we have another fun Pac-12 matchup. We got Arizona and their high-flying offense, who looked good against USC. If you saw that matchup, USC did not handle their offense that well. Of course, fortunately for Arizona, they don't have much of a defense, and they're heading to Utah with Utah 17.5-point favorite. Do you think this will be an easy win for the Utes, or do you think there might be an upset brewing?
it's going to just beat the spread.
Mm-hmm.
38-17 Utah.
Mm-hmm.
If this game was at Arizona like the USC game, it'd be different. But since it's at Utah, I don't think it's going to be that close. Utah is much, much better at home. They're like one of the biggest complete swaps of teams on the road and home. They're way better at home, so I don't think it's gonna be close.
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna see here in this next game if the interim coach can. Ooh, I like this from Joey. Maybe Casper the Ghost should join the Mountaineers. Give them a little team spirit. Well, Dave Casper for Notre Dame definitely helped out Notre Dame in 1973 as a tight end, leading the Irish to a national championship. So maybe we need another Casper in college football to help boost their team over the top.
The old ghost to the post.
Coast to the post. Yeah. So we're gonna see here if the coast of Brian Harsin can get away from Auburn as Cadillac Williams is leading them now as they're heading down to Cowbell country to take on the Bulldogs with Mike Leach's men 12.5-point favorites with an over-under of 51 here in Starkville.
Oh, that's going to be a 42-24 victory for Mississippi State.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is interesting because you have like this game here. You just had him, Brian Harsin, get fired. And a lot of times when the coach gets fired from a team, sometimes they play a lot better, and we've seen that this season where a lot of these teams that the coach has been fired, then the next game they play a lot better. But Mississippi State, it's at Mississippi State, and I mean they've been kind of inconsistent this season, but they've played a lot better than Auburn throughout the whole season. So I'm going to go with Mississippi State by at least 7-10.
Mm-hmm. Now we have my boy Clark Lee's probably last big shot of getting his first SEC win as they host the South Carolina Shamecocks, who shamefully lost to Mizzou this past week. So can the shame keep coming? Can Clark Lee get his first SEC win, or is this another big sandstorm going to happen to the Commodores? Jeffrey, do you think they have a shot?
I'm going to go with South Carolina. I think that Vanderbilt, I mean, they have a chance, but South Carolina, I think Shane Beamer's going to find a way to get his team re-energized after their performance against, who are they playing? I forgot, Missouri. They were playing Missouri. They played bad in that game, but they've had times this season where they've looked really good. I mean, they beat Texas A&M. I know Texas A&M is playing really bad, but I think South Carolina's going to find a way to get the bowl eligibility. I don't think Shane Beamer's going to let them lose. I mean, they could lose. There's a chance, but I think South Carolina's going to win.
It's going to be a South Carolina victory, 27-10.
27-10.
Oh, but your point about Texas A&M, they will beat the Florida Gators, though, Jeffrey.
Oh.
Because if you look at Jimbo's record against Florida, he always gets up for them. Let's see, he's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-1 against Florida all time.
I kind of like didn't really pick a team in that one. I mean, it's for me, it's like a pick 'em. It's tough to tell, but that is a great point. I mean, it is at home; they could definitely win. I mean, Florida's been very inconsistent as well, so I definitely I can see that for sure.
Oh yeah, week 1 they were the talk of the town after they upset Utah, but then Kentucky brings them down to earth, and then Tennessee beats them. And then the legend of Hendon Hooker began. Well, it really began in Pittsburgh.
So we have a nice little non-conference matchup between two teams that are kind of playing better than most of us expected. We had JMU, who unfortunately they've kind of fell off. They've won their last two, but can they get up and beat a Power 5 team in Louisville who they're riding high off of beating Wake? So do you think there's a chance that JMU does it again and pulls off another win?
A couple weeks ago, I would have said maybe James Madison could when they were like undefeated and everything. Louisville was kind of like 500; they weren't doing too good. But Louisville could easily be ranked right now if they had like won those two games that they should have won. They lost. So I mean, Louisville's playing a lot better lately. I'm gonna go with Louisville by at least 7.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a Louisville 31-24 victory.
Mm-hmm. Guys, do you want to hear a funny college football joke that Joey told? Did you hear about the fishing hook that was oversensitive? It was a defensive tackle.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was a good one, Joe. Now we got a nice little rivalry game going on at ABC that we have Florida State taking on Miami.
Oh my God. That is a beautiful rivalry. Oh,
with
yeah.
a 7.5-point
sucks.
Florida State spread.
Like,
So,
why
do
do
you think the
Miami and
Canes have a
Florida
shot?
State?
Florida State, Jackson Lake's Florida State.
Oh, Miami doesn't have a shot. They don't have their quarterback, Taylor Van Dyke.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
It's gonna be a Florida State, but it's gonna be tight, closer than the experts have it, because I mean, it is one of the best rivalries in all of college football. It's a Florida State 24-21 victory, and it's gonna be a Miami either wide left or wide right.
Oh.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be a close game. I mean, obviously it's a rivalry game, but Miami's offense is in the toilet. So, dang, I think I froze.
You're back, Jeffrey.
Sorry, I froze. Sorry about that. But yeah, I think that Florida State's going to win. Miami's really struggling on offense. Florida State's going to win by 7. I think they're Florida State's pretty good. A lot of people are like Florida State's not that good, but they're pretty good. They just haven't beaten the better teams that they play, but they're better than Miami this season when Miami's playing. So I think they're going to continue to beat who they're better than and beat Miami.
Mhm.
Yeah, but those fans, they are
Mm.
not too happy with Norvell.
Do you think that Miami fans like they got to show up for this one, right?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, they're gonna bring their A game against Florida State for sure. I mean, they're not gonna treat it like Duke or Middle Tennessee.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of those games where you just take the stats out.
Mhm.
Mm.
But unfortunately, I'll probably be watching Bama and Notre Dame at the same time. But I'm gonna try to make sure I can flip between Bama, Notre Dame, and Florida State, Miami.
You got Wake, NC State too.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Wake,
that one
NC
too.
State. We
Yeah,
got Wake as a 3-point favorite in Raleigh, probably because Devin Leary's still hurt. I'm definitely going with Wake because Devin Leary's still hurt. I'm pretty sure Devin Leary's going to be out.
gotta go with Sam I am Hartman and the Demon Deacons, 35-27.
Yeah, I agree. If Devin Leary was healthy, I probably maybe would have picked NC State, but yeah, Wake Forest is going to win. NC State's not the same team
True.
without him.
Mhm.
That starting QB injury killed him.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Now we got Tony's team, the USC Trojans, as they're going to be
Ooh.
hosting Oski and the Golden Bears. USC, a big 21.5-point favorite. And that might be more than the people that show up for this game because USC fans, well, they only like the big games.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Huh. That's a toughie. Oh, who am I kidding? It's not. It's USC
Yeah.
42-21.
Yeah.
Cal's offense stinks. I mean, they're not gonna be able to keep up with USC, man. So I'm gonna go with USC by a lot. Yeah, I agree.
Mhm. We have in the other Pac-12 after dark game, we got UCLA heading to Arizona State. Arizona State been playing a bit better since Herm Edwards left. They've been playing to win the game a bit more.
Oh, he's back at ESPN. Anybody hear about that?
Oh, he's back.
Yeah, like 2016 at one point. Let's see. He was at ESPN from 2009 2017. 2016, he was doing the Blitz with Chris Berman on Sports Center. And 2017 was like the last year he did the highlight show. So maybe they'll let him back on like NFL primetime or something.
Ooh.
I mean, they got Booger McFarland with the
Mm.
Schwami, but
But yeah, he's not as good as Herm.
huh?
He's not as good as Herm. Herm's better than Booker.
True. I mean, you know, I wanted the Herm Edwards era to work out for Arizona State, but I was sad to see that it didn't. Like the moment I found out the next morning they lost to Eastern Michigan, I'm like, ah, man, I should have stayed up till 1 a.m. for that.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that resulted in him getting fired. But
Yeah.
don't like it, but college football is a tough business. If
Mm-hmm.
you can't survive in tough business, you know, I'm
Mhm.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think UCLA is, this could be like a game you could possibly overlook. It's possible, and you don't play too well, and you could lose. But yeah, I think UCLA, they still got stuff to play for. So I'm gonna have them beating Arizona State. Arizona State is playing a little bit better, but they're not gonna beat UCLA.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, it's UCLA 45-17.
And everyone here knows you can't spell suck without your.
Oh,
Now, we got a game that's just about to kick off soon.
Washington, Oregon State.
Should be a good one. We don't you think, guys? This is gonna be a good game between two great. Oregon State can really run the ball, but Washington State they're more balanced. But Washington's defense just isn't that good. So I think this is a pretty even game.
It's going to be a Washington 38-35 victory.
Mm.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah, this is a game I would have loved to do a preview on this game. Obviously couldn't because I was away. I really wanted to do one on this game, but But yeah, this is a game where it's like it's at Washington, and I think that just is just enough to get them over the top. They're like Utah. I don't think it is as much as Utah, but they're very much like Utah in the fact they're way better at home. When they're on the road, they're nowhere near as good. I think that Oregon State is a really good team, but they have not done as well outside the USC game against teams with, they obviously have decent defensive backs, but I think Washington's going to put up more points, and Washington is going to find a way to win. Yes, for sure.
Oh yeah. Hey, I mean, at least you're not going to get fired for having 6 wins at Oregon State. I'll take the job right now.
Mm-hmm.
Take me, Oregon State. I'm all yours.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna look up some more Joey jokes. Hey guys, do you know what Iowa Hawkeye's favorite song is? Do you
I don't
know?
know, something about Hawkeye.
I like Big Punch and I cannot lie.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's about all they got.
Yeah, their offense is awful. Do you think Kurt Ferentz is going to try to do a free real estate move with Brian Ferentz where he says, "Oh, I'm not going to have him as the offensive coordinator, but I'm going to put him back as the O-line coach."
They need to do that.
Yep, yeah, because it's free real estate.
Mm-hmm. And Joey, of course, nudging me a bit here. Does Notre Dame football
What's
players
penalty?
I'm
That's
not
not where
gonna
you
say
put your
that.
P
We're gonna
in
keep
it,
it. We're
is
gonna keep
it?
this. We're gonna keep the show safe for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And why don't they serve drinks in the Notre Dame Stadium anymore? The student met the recipe. Oh my gosh. Where does Tony keep his USC diploma so he can park in the handicap spaces? Oh my gosh. All right. Well, it's enough hyping it up. We're gonna go talk about my boys, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They're hosting Clemson. Obviously, I hope that Notre Dame can win, but we're going to have to pass the ball a good bit. And really hope that Drew Pine can just make a couple throws. Our special teams can make a couple plays, and we can hopefully DJ throws a few picks. Hopefully, a few of those things happen, and the Irish have a great shot of pulling it out.
I think that Notre Dame, like I said at the beginning when we talked about it before we went live, I think that Notre Dame is better than people think. That they have a really good team. They have a lot of talent. They have struggled some, but I think that Notre Dame is going to beat Clemson. I actually do. I really think that they're going to beat Clemson. Clemson is they're a good team, but they've really struggled. So I'm going to go with Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Clemson has been struggling even though they're undefeated. I mean, they're really good, but obviously compared to most teams, but just that environment. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of Clemson people there, but Notre Dame it just feels like an upset's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm. Jackson, do you want to talk about the Notre Dame game for a sec?
Oh, sorry about that. I'm back.
Do you want to talk about the Notre Dame Clemson game?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm thinking it's a Clemson victory. I hope I'm wrong, but I want to see Notre Dame upset them. But right now, I'm thinking it's Clemson 31, Notre Dame 24.
All right. That's fair.
I mean, the offense at Clemson is just god awful. I mean, you're gonna get beat by Michigan or an Ohio State or Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
But Hendon Hooker will get out that belt and spank you, Clemson. He's gonna.
Or they might not if they lose to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Oh, like the Eddie Murphy meme. Can't get in the playoffs if you lose in the regular season.
Yeah.
To Notre Dame. Like, how funny would that be? If Notre Dame beats Clemson tomorrow night, and the ACC title game is the champ that's beaten by Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm. Both of
How
them.
cool.
Both of them. Yeah.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
You think maybe that's gonna help Marcus Freeman a little bit?
Oh yeah. And all the recruits are going to this game. Like almost all of them are.
It's a
Oh
big
yeah.
game for sure.
Yeah. So what are you guys thinking about Tennessee, Georgia now? That's another big.
Ooh. Jeffrey, you go first.
Yeah, this game I keep flip flopping back and forth because it's at Georgia, and I picked Tennessee earlier in the week when I was on Golden Blue Dude show when they were asking about it. But it's like, man, it just keeps flip flopping back and forth. Tennessee needs this game so bad to not say the Alabama was a fluke. It's not a fluke. They're great. They're a great team, but it's like this is a really important game because Georgia's already in the elite stratosphere. This game is really important for Tennessee to say we're here, like we're legit, like we can hang with all these teams. It's at Georgia though. It's gonna be really, really tough, but I want Tennessee to win. I think they can win. I think their offense is good enough, even though Georgia's defense is really good still, even though it had all those players go to the NFL.
Well, I mean,
Tennessee's offense
their
is really good.
passing game is second best in the nation. So,
Mhm. But if Tennessee's offense can just put up points like they have been on Georgia's defense, I think they're going to be able to score enough. But if Georgia stops Tennessee enough and keeps like in the low 30s, then Georgia's going to win. But if Tennessee hits 40, I think Tennessee's going to win. So I'm probably going to lean Tennessee barely, but it could go either way.
well, friends, it will be a 49-45 victory for the Tennessee Volunteers. Hendon
Tennessee.
Hooker. Hey, NFL teams, call him up now. Bryce Young and Hendon Hooker are your guys. I like Will Levis, but Mel Kiper, don't be putting him ahead of Bryce. It really shows me you did not watch Bryce Young this year, or not enough of him.
Mm-hmm. A fun thing is we have two older quarterbacks in this game. We got Stetson Bennett at 25. We got Hendon Hooker at 24. So we got like guys that like Jeff and Joey Foster's age coming out to the game. So yeah, hopefully that they can do. No, they'll be good. They'll both be good.
Yeah.
I think that Georgia will get enough stops to win, but I hope I'm wrong. But I just think that Georgia's defense can do a little more than Tennessee's.
Well, that Bama LSU game, that's going to be another good one.
Yeah, talk about your boys, the Tide.
Oh, yeah, man. Old Bryce, man. I think he's going to win a tight one in Baton Rouge because, I mean, it's at dark, so anything can really happen. I don't want to see Bama get beat, but nothing surprises me at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be an Alabama 28-24 victory.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you're betting on LSU to beat the spread, you're going to be very happy. That will probably be easier money than the Powerball tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny because obviously I've grown up watching Alabama with my dad, and they're like my winning team, and it's like the sucker punch team is Indiana. They're like the losing team I root for. It's like Alabama's my win team, and it's like Alabama always wins, and they find ways to win. And it's like
True.
they've got a loss on the schedule already. So it's like, are they really going to lose again and be eliminated from the playoff? I don't think so. I agree. I think Alabama's going to find a way to win, and I think that Alabama's going to squeak out a close one at LSU. I don't think they're going to lose again.
Well, and don't forget, Jeffrey, the SEC West is not finalized this week.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to get it. Hopefully, it gets finalized next Saturday. Because guess where they got to go to? Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm. And me and my
And
dad will be watching both games, man. It's gonna be
oh,
crazy.
oh yeah,
Mhm.
like Ole Miss, they're sitting there on their little butts watching Bama LSU. They're gonna be like, oh, what do we do against Bama? Oh, coach told us to watch the game. We'll know what to do, what not to do.
So GBD really wants me to wear "I love GBD" shirt to the game. Now, I would do this, but I don't have a GBD shirt. Like, but I would consider doing it. It'd be funny.
Captain
And I'm
Dead.
not. I don't think you're dissing anyone, Joey. I just want to talk about the games, and then we'll look at your chats. So yeah, I really think Alabama will just put it on LSU in this game. I mean, Brian Kelly in big games. I have no faith in the man that he can win a big game.
True.
So yeah, but I don't know if he'll cover the 13. But I definitely think Alabama will win.
Yeah. I would. I really hope Bama does whoop LSU, but again, nothing surprises me, especially in Baton Rouge at Death Valley at nighttime on ESPN. Oh, fun fact, guys! This will be the first time since 2006 that the Alabama LSU game will be on ESPN, and it's not on CBS.
Yeah,
Yeah,
CBS
that is
wanted to see
crazy.
Jimbo and Saban.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about A&M. They brought their A game against Bama, but again, everybody brings their A game against Bama. But they don't act like that against South Carolina. I mean, they're smoking that hash before the game starts, but then they don't act like that against Bama.
Hmm.
Act like every game is Bama. Treat Appalachian State like you treat Bama, and treat South Carolina like you treat Bama, and you're good to go. You're good to go.
Hmm.
Yeah, they'd actually be good.
Oh, Connor Wigman, he's a pretty good quarterback. Did pretty good against Ole Miss, but
Hmm.
you know, I they got Ole Miss. I mean, no, wait, they went past Ole Miss, but they got Florida tomorrow, 11 a.m. on ESPN, and then they got Auburn and no name game. Then they got LSU as the regular season finale. How cool is it going to be that Texas A&M will be back in the next few years?
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah, I'm sure Texas fans will enjoy that because if Jimbo Fisher's there, I don't think they're being. I don't know if they're gonna have any good offense if they don't
If
buy
he's
him out.
there.
is Sark even going to be able to coach in that rivalry?
Mm. Who knows, man? Who knows with the Texas boosters? This might be my favorite joke of the day about you, Joey. If you have a car containing a USC Trojan wide receiver, a USC Trojan linebacker, and a USC Trojan defensive back, who's driving the car? The cop.
Hmm.
And he's got being Bama being LSU easy like we do. And he has his upset lock in his ND over Clemson. Jeffrey, is there anything you want to add before we close out the show? We had another nice hour-long show.
I just think that this is gonna be a great week of football. Like I said, you've got the headlining games. There's a lot of headliners, but there's a lot of sneaky good games as well. And I'm definitely will be watching from noon to midnight. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, you'll have one happy leprechaun here if ND and Bama both win. So hopefully that happens, and hopefully we'll have just a great week of games. Hopefully there's some fun games
As
that we
long as
don't know.
Alabama and Indiana wins, I'll be good.
Yeah, yeah. So
And
we'll
Notre
see you
Dame.
guys next week on Only Talk Sports on Jeffrey's channel. So thanks for tuning on, everyone, and go Irish.